Hello, Viola. It's very nice to see you here again.
Merhaba, Emre.
Merhaba, Viola. I have to introduce Viola, first of all. Viola Hasselberg is a friend of mine, and we worked with her a lot of times throughout the years. She's now working in München Kammerspiele with Barbara Mundel, and she's the vice chief artistic director of the theater and works as a chief dramaturg of the München Kammerspiele. Now,
That's
I would
true.
like, yeah, isn't it? You want to add something to that? Because, yeah, I know you have many things, you're doing a lot of things.
It's very fresh. We started last September as the first female team who's leading this theater. And we have achieved to play for 3 weeks, not more possible because of the pandemic conditions.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But that's not our issue today, I know.
Okay. Now, I would like to announce our topic we are going to discuss today. Theater and Women Plus, we say in short, which is a very important and wide issue, actually. We have to talk over and over. Unable to do theater with a live audience makes all of us a bit annoyed, but we can use this time to develop other valuable issues and things like communicating on issues which are confrontations mostly, set aside while there is a rush of openings. During the hectic times of the rehearsal period, sometimes we cannot find time to discuss issues that are experienced on gender equality and abuse in many senses. On top of that, as we know, the government retreated from the Istanbul Agreement, an agreement on gender equality and prevention of domestic violence. And also we are having shut down circumstances, again, as you told. So really, maybe the best thing we can do right now is to talk about Theater and Women Plus and with you in the Zoom. And we can add another perspective to it. Of course, all these issues are debated in Turkey, this topic that we're going to talk, but we can look at it from another perspective, which is the stage perspective. So I'll come to the question now after those long introduction. Do you think woman, and when we say woman plus, the LGBTQI plus individuals, of course, and their stories are represented enough on stage, Viola? And what kind of artistic policies are proposed by the German theater makers in Germany for this? This is my first question.
This is your first question. Yes, I can answer it with a very clear no. No, these issues are not represented enough on our stages here in Germany. And but there is something changing. There is a move. There is a new awareness of this. And for Kammerspiele, it was always an important issue. So we try to really continue this politics. Firstly, we have to really put more female voices in our programs. They are heavily underrepresented, and we start our artistic direction last year with really the intention to present female artists, writers, which are not even known. For example, Gisela Elsner is a very interesting voice. She committed suicide in 1992. She was a communist, she was a mother, and she has a very, very political but very poetic, very sharp language. I would compare her with Elfriede Jelinek, but she's completely unknown. So we are really happy to represent her now in a big a presentation on stage where more than one novel or theater piece is involved. It's really more than only one piece of her. We have living authors like Sivan Ben Yishai, who opened our first season, and she will do a new piece for us for hopefully our next opening in September. I think there are many voices, hidden voices, which have to be more visible, more hearable. And it needs also a crucial reflection about who is interpreting these voices. It's very crucial. So, for example, we have many female directors who have their own interpretation. We have an awareness also in our ensemble. And we try to also have an eye on the historic roots. For example, in Munich, there was a very famous avant-garde women movement, completely forgotten. It's really out of open access. Nobody knows about it. Even these women, they have lived here, and it's just that their pieces are thrown out of the archives because it was women's work and not work to keep it. It's really that brutal. So we are planning a premiere, which maybe will not come to a premiere in June. The title is Bayerische Suffragetten, Bavarian Suffragettes, so that we can see we have a tradition here, and we have maybe just sometimes to have a different policy of remembering or an awareness that there is something. We don't start from zero, but sometimes it feels that we start from zero. It's a repetition of, discrimination, of self-marginalization. Women are also part of this system because they sometimes they are not, brave enough or in the position. But I think we have a good chance that now we can turn the agenda, and we can have another canon. So other artistic voices, other interpretations on stages, and also debates. The debates we can have in theater are very important, and of course it's also sometimes very controversial debates, because the different generations are not always of the same opinion. And you can name it that sometimes there is a competition of being the bigger victim, which is maybe not so productive, but because there is so many topics not being spoken about, and we have to we have to bring some topics on stage which wait for several years or decades. So this causes conflicts as well. Yeah. Who is the first to be important?
Yeah, but also there is you are doing another project, Sisterhood project internationally. This is also another channel, maybe. Who is when you're talking about who is coming first and who will be, but also this international agenda, and maybe this working together is very important.
It is very important, and I mean, it's bizarre that indeed we have Corona, we are not able to visit each other. Some of these relations started to be very intensive during pandemic times, because we invested a lot of time to consult each other, sometimes weekly, about comparable issues, like how to have a not hierarchy-based system in theater, how to program several issues. And sisterhood means that we have two cities, Warsaw and Warsaw and Kiev in Ukraine, where we will have very long-term and deeply developed relationships, like sisterhood relationships. And we want to have a really honest exchange about methods, about ways of programming, of casting, and of course also about gender debates. In Ukraine and in Poland, there is a very even more visible movement than here in Germany. If you think of about all these protests against the new law against abortion in Poland, which is a big scandal. I mean, we all know about it. But there is the whole women are on the streets, and they are the first ones who managed to have an opposition against the PIS party. So we want to accompany this political movements, these movements of civil society, and strengthen each other. So that's also a policy or an idea of this artistic sisterhood between Münchner Kammerspiele and, for example, TR Warszawa.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, it's very nice. Now I want to talk about another way of looking at theater and woman, actually. Very specific, maybe questioning now. What do you think? What is a must in representation of a gender on stage? What do you think, Viola?
Yeah, there are different musts. For example, I think that women must not be discriminated because, for example, of their age on stage. This was very long tradition here in Germany. Women after 40 are very rare on stages. I mean, that's crazy. And if you want to change this, you have to really to program against this invisible law. But you can do this, and you need women of all physical appearances, beautiful, not beautiful, whatever. You need a variety of women on stage and on every age. This is not the normal condition now, but this is for me a must. Mm-hmm. And the must is also the equal payment, of course. This is behind the stage, but this is also not everywhere the reality of 2021. A must is also that there is no sexual harassment on stage and behind the curtains during the rehearsal. Therefore, you need a new working culture. I don't know if you hear about this in Turkey. We have many discussions at the moment, because things that were normal for ages, that you can discriminate or scream or behave like whatever in a rehearsal space, it's not tolerated anymore. And there are everywhere artists say that they also want documents about the working codex, and they want to have persons they can address to if there is an incidence of discrimination or sexual harassment. Yes, and we have this also at Münchner Kammerspiele. It's not a place beyond reality. So we have to deal.
Mm-hmm. We also have now started to work on a manifesto that's a kind of listing the things that you can do, you cannot do, you can say, you cannot say, to make a kind of acknowledgement of the gender equality. And of course, this harassment and abuse kind of things, even wordly abuse, anything that can be. And what is abuse actually? We just open up this kind of questions. Also, we started working on that also. And then I have another question with this. How can violence against women can be put on stage? This is also very debatable. Most of the time, the things that we have seen already on stage doesn't actually work. The repetition of the act or the victim role for the woman, are these help to question the situation?
I mean, there are, of course, different opinions, but more and more, and I agree with these opinions, there is a consciousness that if you reproduce women in the role of victims on stage, you don't make things better, even you stabilize the system. So we have many attempts to bring the very resisting system of patriarchy on stage, its language, its habits, its roots. They are deeply in our genes. We cannot say, yeah, this is this. We are beyond this. We are in the middle. We are made of this. But we try not to reproduce physical violence against women plus on stage. We are trying to show also women in a kind of empowerment situation, that they at least deal with the situation. They find strategies, subversive strategies of humor, of empowerment. I mean, I think it's also, it doesn't make sense to show a world which we are, we are dreaming of, but we are not in this world. We have these problems, but I think it's very, very important not to be just repetitive and stay in these old patterns. And yes, I have to say, especially women have a consciousness for this more than their male colleagues. And so we sometimes have also debates if a text, for example, is a trigger, or how we can deal if a text names a very violent situation. How can you find a kind of a scenic solution for it without just reproducing the violence of the text?
Yeah.
But I think violence has to be named. I mean, it's in the system, it's in the present, and it will be in the future. So I think we have to deal with this violence in a way that we get more and more aware where it hides, where it is, where it starts. As you say, it starts sometimes not with a physical action, but with a verbal action.
Yeah. My last question, maybe, what would your advice to be to the writers and dramaturgs who are working on the representation of the violence on stage and writing text about domestic violence against women and LGBTQI plus individuals, as an experienced dramaturg and programming many debatable issues on stage? As someone.
Look carefully, bring the stories, the narratives on stage without just reproducing the violence. I think, I don't know, in Turkey maybe as well, but in Germany, even due to the Corona situation, the domestic violence increased, and you can, of course, talk also about numbers that's measurable, and there are enough. Yes, there are a lot. Yeah, and there are still persons who say, this is not our reality, but it is. So I think we have to face these stories. We have to see this women and other individuals who are concerned by this violence. We have to tell their names. And I hope that we have more material, that we have different languages to talk about this experience of violence, because I think it's, of course, it can be very different from which perspective to write about it. And I would be also be curious if men would maybe face this topic and say something to this issue from their side.
Yeah, maybe yes. The discussion has to be more active, maybe on the other part also, yes. So that the equality there, discussion equality is also there. You know. Yes. Thank you, Viola, for this time that you shared with us. Hope to talk to you more on different things. You always give me very fruitful feedbacks and proposals. Thank you very much, and have a nice time in Germany. And in your theater, hopefully we will open up and have audience again.
Yes, we are longing for this. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.